Hey guys, Level Cap here. The latest Battlefield 5 Tides of War weekly progression is live. The unlock is the new Panzerbüchse 39 anti-material rifle for the Recon class. It plays out very much like the Boys IT with some subtle differences. Today, I'm going to talk about the unlock and the performance of this new weapon, but also some of the few other little updates that have been snuck into the Battlefield game in the community. One of those updates is a new practice mode, allowing players to basically learn how to play Conquest. So if you just got into Battlefield for the first time, there's actually a decent tutorial system on how to play the game and how it functions. It's a little buggy at times and kind of funny. Some of the pilots are very realistic, crashing into buildings and stuff like that, but it's there and it seems to do the job. It even makes me wonder, hey, wouldn't it have been cool if single player you had a squad of AI companions that walked around kind of like they do in this practice mode? Might have given it an interesting dynamic or something. But anyway, this is something that all Battlefield games need and should have at launch. And as far as I know, I think this is one of the first legit tutorial systems in a Battlefield game like this. Maybe I'm misremembering, but it's good that it's in the game and hopefully can become a staple for Battlefield games going forward. Now, the other thing that's popped up is a Trello board for Battlefield 5. This will be maintained by the developers and community managers, and basically it's an online list-making software that allows us to go through and see the latest bugs that are being worked on, some of the features and quality of life improvements that are coming to the game, and other things that basically it's your one-stop shop for anything Battlefield 5 and what's coming with the game in terms of the development process or just getting general information. It's a little sparse at the moment, but hopefully we'll get populated a bit more as time moves on. It gives us a bit of history as to what has been changed and what has been worked on, and a little bit as to what's being worked on now. Like if you go on the Trello board at the moment, you can see that there's a dedicated team working on trying to solve the ping issue in Battlefield 5 right now, where players are having unusually high ping in games. Hopefully that'll be fixed in the near future, and it does say on there that they're going to try and release a hot fix for it before 4.6 patch. So basically this is where you can get the most up-to-date information about patches and what's being worked on in the game. Not necessarily the most exciting news, but it is probably a better format than Reddit and Twitter for keeping the community up to date. All right, let's talk about the Panzerbüchse 39, the new anti-material rifle. To unlock this weapon, there's a very basic Tides of War progression. You have a week from today, basically, to complete this progression, and then it'll unlock for you and give you the new gun. It took me, I'd say, maybe an hour and a half to go through this progression tree. There's a couple different paths on there. They're fairly self-explanatory. I think one of the quicker ways to do it is to go down the one that requires you to get some melee kills. 6 melee kills, and I ended up just doing the bayonet charge to try and get this as quickly as possible and then move on to the last one. The last assignment there requires you to call in 10 artillery or smoke barrages, which can take a while. It took me several rounds to do it, but if you're focused and your squad leader and your squad's doing decently in capping objectives, you can get through it hopefully without too much trouble. And then you'll have the Panzerbüchse 39, and just like all the other Tides of War weapons that come out, if you do miss the weekly unlock challenges, you will be able to buy it later for not too much company coin. They're generally pretty inexpensive. Now, let's talk about the basics of the Panzerbüchse 39. This is an anti-material rifle, which puts it into a different category than bolt-action rifles. Not only does it need to be bipoded in order to aim down sights, but it can also do damage to armored vehicles. Admittedly, they're far more effective against lightly armored vehicles like smaller transports, APCs, half-tracks, that kind of thing. And if you're going up against heavier vehicles, you might want to consider using armor-piercing rounds, and don't expect to take them out on your own. They're more of assist weapons. If you see your team going after a Tiger tank or something like that, you can help out by dishing out a small amount of damage or maybe interrupting the tank's repair cycle. So they're not necessarily vehicle killers, but they're vehicle assisters. When shooting infantry, this weapon is a one-shot body shot kill, where all the other bolt-action rifles, you need to hit a headshot if you want to drop them in one single shot. This weapon can go right through the torso and take them out at once. I believe, though, if you do hit an extremity like a foot or a hand or something like that, you may not get the one-shot kill. You might do something like 95 damage, so you have to hit kind of center mass for it to work. But other than that, it will absolutely waste people. Now, it can be fired without the bipod deployed, but it will not be as accurate as you cannot aim down sights. But this is useful if somebody's pushing into close quarters with you and you need to get that quick kill. Take a chance with the hipfire accuracy. It often does pay off. Now, this weapon has a 11-round box magazine on the side of it, and it's not so much a magazine as it is just an ammo storage compartment, as you have to take the rounds out individually and load them in individually with each shot. It's a slow rate of fire, slower actually than the boys' AT rifle, but it allegedly makes up for it with higher damage. So I believe it has a more aggressive drop-off than the boys' AT rifle, but I'll have to actually dig into the weapon stats to get you that information for sure. The muzzle velocity also feels pretty aggressive. You don't have to lead much with your targets. When you first unlock the weapon, you'll have iron sights equipped by default. These are decent and they won't give you any sort of scope glint when using the weapon, but if you choose to upgrade to a 3 or 6 times, you might be giving away your position with some scope glint. So you have to decide, do you want to make the trade-off for better accuracy with higher magnification optics, or are you comfortable with the iron sights and not having any scope glint whatsoever? It might be a decent trade-off for a very campy playstyle. Personally, I like running the 3 times optics on here, and I might try the 6 times out a little bit as well. Now, as for specializing this weapon, once you get it up to rank 4, you'll be able to unlock all the different specialization trees. I think the first 3 are pretty much a guaranteed full left side. Swings and swivels for the ability to shoot faster after sprinting. It can be helpful in close quarters when moving around. Flashless propellant to make yourself a bit more campy. And then a faster rechambering. The right side of the tree really just doesn't offer any benefits that I want with this weapon. The reduced recoil almost doesn't make any sense with this gun since the rechambering time is so long. I don't even understand why that's an upgrade on the tree. So I'd say first 3 guaranteed all left side. And then it just depends. Do you want your weapon to be more of a hybrid so it can deal better damage against vehicles? Or do you want that faster muzzle velocity to make it even more effective against infantry targets? Personally, I like the faster muzzle velocity as I don't spend a lot of time going after vehicles with this. And if I'm playing on a map with some real vehicle threats, generally speaking, and I want to take them down, the assault class is just going to do infinitely better than using this weapon. But that's a choice that you guys can make for yourselves. Now, sadly, this weapon doesn't really have any interesting cosmetic options beside the standard stuff. You get the green, you get the standard tiger stripe blue, and then you get the mint and the gold, but there hasn't really been anything designed beyond that, which is very weird. I don't know if this is a bug or if DICE is just so far behind schedule. They're like, screw it, don't make any custom skins for this gun, just ship it, ship it, ship it. Ultimately, I don't know if I'd be spending any money or spending any time kitting this weapon out with company coins, since it's probably not going to be one that I use all that much because the gameplay style is pretty cheesy. It's very much get on your belly and wait for somebody to cross your line of sight and then just blow them away. I don't particularly like it. I don't think it's a fun game mechanic, especially with the very slow nature of the bipod meta. It just requires you to play very, very slow, and I'm just not as big a fan of that. That being said, the kills with this weapon are very satisfying. The gunshot sound is pretty impressive, very loud, and when your shots hit on target or hit close, there's a massive spray of sparks. This gun feels and looks like it's got some real power, and when you drop somebody with one shot, it is quite satisfying. When picking a sidearm for this weapon, make sure it's a sidearm that you're comfortable getting kills from 100% health on your enemy. Generally speaking, when using bolt-action rifles, you can get an 80 damage shot on close quarters, and then you just need a sidearm to finish off your enemy as quickly as possible. If you shoot your enemy in close quarters with the Panzerbüchse, they're going to be dead. So Essentially, your sidearm is only going to be used to deal with full health targets most of the time, so get something that you're comfortable with taking somebody from 100 to 0. The Fortress game mode is back this week. If you want some just insane infantry cluster, it's there for you. I'm not a huge fan of Fortress, but it might be a decent game mode to try out this weapon on and just camp and kill to your heart's content. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Get the gun unlocked for yourself. Try it out. Let me know what you think. And I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.